In the next few lessons, we will learn how to use Microsoft Excel to create another powerful project management tool. Logs. Well, I mean a log document or log file. Okay, that's better. So what is a log? Basically, this is a document where important events are recorded, written down, or logged. Once logged, people can obtain information about these events. What is it about? Who is involved? Are there any next steps? What is the due date for closing the case? During the execution phase lessons, we already introduced the basis of all these logs, the project diary. Remember what the three fields were that it includes? Action, owner, and due date. This is the ultimate project management recipe for getting things done, documenting explicitly in a written format what has to be done, by whom, and when. Remember this formula as it has tremendous effects. So let's switch to Excel and develop our first log. We will start with a number field. Project management logs can have hundreds of rows in bigger projects, so the numeration is essential. Then we have the action. Here we need a short title or sentence to explain what this action is about. In the example we used in the high-level tracker lesson, usernames had to be collected by the F&A managers so that the accounts are created in the new system for these employees. Remember? For France, the manager needed to prepare an additional list for the external to his company vendor employees who also need accounts. Frank collects this additional list, however figures out that these new accounts will need to be paid for from the French budget and not from the project budget. That had not been validated before the start of the project. Although the amount is not significant, the budget cannot be granted without the approval from the CFO. There you go. We have an action for our log. Approval on additional budget to be obtained by France CFO. We type it into our Excel table. Note, I will make the text smaller and use the wrap text functionality to keep it more readable. I will also make the rows higher because in the log documents you usually add more text. I will do that by selecting all rows and then by changing the height of one of them. All selected rows will identically change. Okay, moving on. The owner column. This basically is the same thing as the responsible column we saw before. You can choose the title you like as they are used as synonyms. Here we would have Frank as the best person to contact the CFO, explain the case and follow up until this is ready. He agrees to be the owner, so we write down his name. Time for the third key element, due date. Here it is important to format your date using the Excel options. Let's imagine the due date is the 5th of May. We can type 05/05/2025. The day, month, and year. What comes out is not so easily readable, so we select the cell and go to number format by clicking on the small arrow here. A pop-up appears. In the category field, you need to select date. Now, to the right, you have the various date formats. Choose whichever suits your needs best. I like using a number for the day and letters for the month. You can also decide whether you want the year to be displayed. My advice is to skip the year, when the action should be closed in the next days or weeks and is not expected to end up in the following year. Okay, I will also put the date column contents in the center of the cell. Ready. Now we have the mandatory action owner due date information logged. From here onward, we can continue adding columns that will help us better manage the activities. Our well-known status column is a valuable next step. We already know how to build it, so let's quickly add it in the format we are familiar with. Lastly, we add the free text comments column to ensure we capture any important information that falls out of the previous categories. Perfect. We have the basic log for managing project actions. In this format, this project management artifact is referred to as Actions Log. In the next lesson, we will see some additional scenarios of how to broaden the scope of this log.